Hey, this is Jerry Viska, your why guy and publisher of Defyeneurs, and welcome to the 2018 New Year launch issue, and it's called Getting Real, and it's featuring everyday people that I absolutely adore that are getting real with their why. So today we are with DAmelio in Toronto. Dan, did I say that name right? Did I say it right?
Yes.
I love that name. It's such a, this is a profound why for me. Diane, as you know, I'm working on this new novel, and it's all about acceptance. So when I see people like you that exist, and I love this, I exist to ignite others with the light of acceptance. You know, that really shakes my core, and it rocks me to my core. So welcome to the Getting Real issue. I'm so happy you're on the Zoom call here.
Well, thank you very much.
So let's go deeper with that. What does that mean to you? Why do you exist?
Well, acceptance is a real difficult one. I think because it takes us so long to accept ourselves. And I think that process is something that we probably will continue to struggle with our whole lives in a lot of ways. I think once we accept ourselves, then we can accept others for who they are. We can accept situations. We can accept what life throws at us. So it's a biggie. It's a biggie.
So why, I love what you just said there, the acceptance of yourself, which is so elusive, but once we get to that level, we can accept others, which is what it's all about. Why do you feel it's so elusive, this ability to accept ourselves?
Well, I think especially when we're kids,
yes,
you know, kids, you get to a point when you're really little, I think you accept everything. And then you hit, you know, puberty, and that's where it all kind of stops. And I think that particularly, well, no, I think it works for both male and female, but I think, you know, females can be cruel. Yeah. And I think that's when we become unsure of who we are, what we want to do, and we hit some real roadblocks, and it takes us a long time, I think, to overcome that. Okay. In our lives, and then realize that we are, you know, all wonderful human beings, and we all have wonderful things to offer. And I don't know, I think it's a really tough, I think it's really tough to accept who you are, and to not only accept who you are, but to be happy with that, you know, and then move forward in a much different, in a different way than perhaps when you were younger.
You know, I love the realness of your energy, Diana. I've always loved that. I love how you don't have it all figured out. And that's what it's about, is, you know, because you're on your own path. And I remember when we had our why time, it's also what you're seeking most. I often say our why is, it's what we're seeking, and it's what we want others to experience. So I love that you're so real with this. And there's a quote you share in your profile, and it goes like this: all great influencers have a heartfelt view that comes from the very core of their being. And I think that's very profound. So share with me, how are you getting real with your why? How are you taking that into your daily life?
Well, I think, you know, one of the great things for me was meeting Angela. And I say that because I have tried meditation in the past. And I actually went, you know, to a 10-day silent meditation camp, which was, you know, it was an amazing experience. But I think meditation really helps you find the core of who you are. And I've been doing it every day, every morning, since, in fact, I met Angela. And it's been a great way to start your day and figure out and accept, you know, figure out who you are, what you're doing, where you're going. And that is, I think, the beginning of acceptance. Excellent. And so that is a huge one for me, I think, to begin with.
I love it. I love that. It's about going within. Angela, by the way, for listeners, Angela Kontgen, who is my life partner, also the editor of Defyeneurs, is a profound meditation coach, and she often, if she was here, she would say it's about going within. Meditation is that access to going within. And that ties into another quote that you shared, Diana, which I love. Acceptance brings courage, strength, and peace.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's like, I take so many notes during these interviews, and I encourage listeners to take these notes, because what Diana's sharing here it's just great stuff. So how is living your why impacting others around you?
Well, it's really interesting for me. I'm 55, and many of my clients are much older than I am, and they are still working through this acceptance of who they are. And on the outside, I mean, we can be some incredibly accomplished individuals, and yet we're still trying to accept ourselves. And to go deep within is really a difficult thing. People find that difficult. I found that difficult. We want to just kind of ignore that. And I don't think you can find true happiness until you do that, And so I think as I get comfortable with digging deep, I'm also helping my clients and my friends and the people around me to feel comfortable to do that as well, or to ask themselves those questions. And sometimes all it takes is a little prompting.
I love it. Okay, first of all, you've tapped into a fountain of youth. I cannot, listeners, I know you're thinking, did you hear it right? 55. It's hard to believe looking at you. So I need to know, like, what is it that the kind of work, which I often call the way, because the why ignites the way, this work that you're doing with clients, share a bit of that with us.
Well, I'm a personal trainer. And I found that kind of late in life. I kind of went full circle. I worked for years in television. I worked in animation. And one day I just went, what am I doing? And in my early days, I started out in fitness, and I kind of found my way back. And funnily enough, my first job when I was 14 years old was working in a seniors residence. Wow. And here I am, years later, working with, mainly, people who are 50 and older. And so I forget your question, Jerry.
Well, you answered it. Your work with others, I believe you're an old soul. I believe your ability to kind of reconnect with that part of you, that there's a level of acceptance there. I love that you brought up that you decided, after doing this work with animation and the kind of corporate world, you decided, no, I've had enough of that. So there was this level of acceptance of who you really are, which is this passion to work with seniors.
Yeah, and I'm not sure. I mean, what I wanted to do is, grow old gracefully, and value what people have to offer as we get older. And I think I've always worked in youth-oriented businesses, right. And so put her out to pasture now, she's 50, and it's like, you have no value anymore. And we have so much value, and I think we learn so much. And people at 70, 80, 90 think the same. We still think we're 17. I think we all, in our heads, we are all so much younger. And life doesn't end for anyone, right? We all want to keep growing and learning and exploring and doing new things. And I think what I do helps to keep people engaged, in their bodies and their minds and, spiritually.
Yes.
I think that's what all of this is, going within and discovering, who we really are, what we really want. And that's accepting, that's acceptance.
I love it. I love the value that you have for our aging demographic. Like, you really honor us, you honor the world by working with this. It's an incredible demographic that, you're right, I don't think our society gives the respect that it really deserves to this group of, because we're all going to reach that level if we're lucky enough, right? Assuming we're working with you, we're able to work on our mind, body, and soul, and really understand that you're right. Time is an illusion, and we can become the greatest selves. And I think that's what you're doing with others, is you're empowering them also to feel that sense of worth. I love that.
Time is really precious, right? And I think when we're young, we don't have that concept, but as we get older, we realize how precious it is. We realize that, you know, there's so much that we want to do, and we're not dinosaurs, and we don't have to be put out to pasture. We can be vibrant and healthy. And I'm grateful that I look young. I thank my mother for, you know, her genes, you know, even though she's passed, that I'm, you know, that I look the way I do. And I think half of that is because I feel young. And I think that's the thing. We don't have to be old. You know, we can always be young and youthful and have vitality and spirit and energy. And that's what I hope I can, you know, put out there.
It's awesome. Well, you're every time I speak with you, I always feel 10 years younger. Such a beautiful energy that you resonate. It's, you know, what you give to others is what you're getting back. And it's amazing. There's another quote you share: imagine shedding away the fears and allowing the light of our acceptance to overflow. That really touches me. Like, that's the kind of thing I want to put on my walls, is this allowing this acceptance to overflow. So what's shifted? I'm sure things have had to shift in your life. What shifted from knowing this deeper why, this acceptance? What's shifted in your life?
Well, I mean, I think shifts are slow, but as long as they keep moving, I'm able to make decisions so much more easily than I ever have been able to in the past. You know, I feel my life is going in a different direction now, and a much more positive direction. You know, my life has changed, you know, considerably in the past couple of years, and I see it now sort of moving a lot faster. You know, I was married for many years, and that has now changed. And that's huge, you know, in a lot of ways. I've been only doing this job for, you know, 5 years now. You know, so that's been a huge thing in my life as well. So I'm taking a huge trip in a month, something that I would have, you know, never imagined, you know, taking off for a month, and just seeing the world where I left off 30 years ago, you know. So I see a whole bunch of big changes right now, and I think a lot of this has helped me, and it's made me accept that I've made some good decisions, and I am going in a new path, and it's the right path.
It's awesome. Okay, my last question, Diana. I love that. I love that this deeper why of, again, I exist to ignite others with the light of acceptance is helping you make choices. It's like a lens for clarifying what you say yes to and what you say no to.
Mm-hmm.
So my last question would be a message to potential prospects, like new clients of yours that are watching this interview, and maybe they're afraid. You know, you've seen this. They're afraid to step out. You know, maybe they're in their 50s, 60s, and they haven't gone to a personal trainer like yourself. What would some of your tips be to them to get them kind of taking action?
Well, each one is so individual. I don't think there's any set rules, but anything is possible. You really can do anything you want to do if you believe it. And if you accept yourself for who you are, you know there are limitations. But with the help, and I think it is a community, with the help of others, you can, you know, get past those obstacles, and you can be the person that you've always wanted to be. Whatever you have inside of you, you can let it forth, and age has no bearing on that. You know, it's all mind, it's all spirit, it's all, you know, finding that energy within and going, this is who I am, you know, and I can get there, and I can do whatever it is I want to do, and I will support you 100%. And I know that if you engage the right community to do that, to help you move forward, it will happen.
I love it. I love it. Diana, how can people get a hold of you listening to this interview and they just can't wait for the issue to come out. They want to jump on it. How can they get a hold of you? What's the best way?
Well, the best way is to send me an email.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, I always respond.
Email in there. I love it. I hope you guys are taking notes, because I tell you, this is such an extraordinary time with Diana. I love this. Anything is possible. Accept yourself for who you are. I call this profile Light of Acceptance. It's on pages 8 and 9. And I'm so excited about Diana DAmelio of Toronto, featured in the Getting Real issue of Defyeneurs. Diana, on behalf of everyday people worldwide, thank you for stepping into your light and igniting your deeper why, because the world's truly helped by you.
Thank you, Jerry. I really appreciate it. I'm so happy that we met.